Hey, Beat Baseball World. Welcome to another edition of the Beat Ball Blues Show. No Bam Bam tonight, but have no fear because the co-host, Demo is here. What up, Demetrius?
What up? What up? What up, Neil? How you doing? How you doing?
I'm hanging. Good to hear your voice again. Kind of wild at the World Series. I would hear your voice here and I would hear your voice there, but you were never close enough to where I could go slap you a high five, man. So I didn't even catch you. I was all ready for you because last year I ran into you like three times, and every time I'm like, "Who's that?" But I was all ready. I didn't want to ask who it was. Go have your voice down, and I didn't even get to catch up with you.
I don't think I heard you one time.
It must have been a bit of a blessing. A bit of a blessing. People like to get away from this irritating voice. So, man, this is the first time I think, we've had you on. You've been a co-host on here before. You've been a guest on here before, but I think this is the first time I've had you on as both. Get to co-host and do some guesting.
Yeah, I think pretty sure it's the first time.
I think it's first time I've done that. Well, you're the only other person who's co-hosted, so outside of Seth and I, so and Seth's never been a guest. I've never been a guest. So it was the first time I've done this period. But I appreciate you both, helping out in both ways. Always appreciate you, my dude.
No doubt, no doubt.
So along with Demo, we got a couple other of the archers with us. My dude, Mark with the C. Morris is here. What's happening, Morris? Welcome back.
How's, how's it going? Good to be back.
Good to have you back, man. Look forward to talking to you about the great season that you had along with your team. We also got your teammate, the big home run hitting king, Justin Holland. I don't know why you say your name wrong sometimes, Justin, but I'm here to teach you.
Okay.
What up, Jay? How you been?
Doing good, man. Doing good. I appreciate you having me on and looking forward to it.
I guess to kind of start, got some individual stuff for all of you. But to get started, man, just kind of a round table with all three of you. And I guess I'll say up front, it took me a minute to want to reach out to you guys, just I guess with my own experience. Um, like finishing second place, there's nothing wrong with finishing second place, but I guess I never came out of the tournament wanting to talk about it a lot. So I wanted to give you guys a little while to get through it, but overall, the Gateway Archers had a really busy off season, a really busy season, and I think as a whole a very successful season. And I was just kind of like now that it's all over and the year's done, get each of your thoughts. Starting with you, Demo. Like, how do you feel about the season overall now that it's wrapped up?
Well, I'll start off saying that everything is wrong about finishing second. Everything is wrong about finishing second because that just means you're the first place loser. So you made it there, but you didn't get the job done.
my
As a se
my teammates, well, I should say our, because Seth and I always said it. Our teammates didn't always agree with our attitude, but we used to come out of it saying second's just a tie for last.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much.
Go ahead.
Um, as a season as a whole, I think it was successful. Like I said, we didn't finish the story, but it was the best season in the organization's history. Did a lot of good things throughout the time we put the team together. So there was definitely some successful moments. Um, Winning first regional in Gateway history in Vegas. Winning a pretty big tournament in Indy that most people were targeting. And yeah, just going throughout the summer, and hosting the World Series, making it to the championship in front of the home crowd.
Yeah, also, the Indy Bonanza, that's always one of the most competitive tournaments. That and the Bolingbrook tournament, I think are always the two most difficult tournaments outside of the World Series. So that was a big deal. Not to mention it's the first time in a long time since a Indy team had won that tournament.
Yeah, same thing. For the World Series, first time in
Yeah.
a long time there wasn't a team from Indiana in the championship game. So
Yeah, I think like 2015, right, was the last time there wasn't
yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
Somewhere in that range. I know it's
yeah,
been a
yeah,
good long time since we've had an indie team in the championship game.
yeah.
Mark, what are your thoughts now that the season's all wrapped up?
You know, I honestly kind of share the same thoughts as Demo as far as, the World Series as a whole, finishing in second is it's frustrating. It's, a little anguishing. And it really is kind of the first place loser position, but I really kind of I really try to take it in stride and use it as a learning opportunity, to kind of help boost the guys into next year, and kind of help to kind of give them things to focus on, things to improve on, and things like that. That way, if when we get back there next year, we actually finish the job. Um, but I mean, the season as a whole, I mean, I honestly, it probably couldn't have gone any better, to be honest with you. Like you said, we had a very busy off season. Brought in, a lot of guys from really all over the country, and that pretty much instantly put a target on our back. So, on top of us trying to come together as a unit on and off the field, establish a good chemistry, get the chemistry with Mike, just come together as an organization. We were also having to deal with a lot of outside noise, and just make sure that we keep each other encouraged and help each other tune that stuff out so we can focus on what really matters. And I thought that as a team we did very well at that. I think that we did a very good job at kind of holding each other's feet to the fire, keeping each other focused, pushing each other to be the best players that we can be, and that really paid off in a very successful season. And again, it didn't end the way that we wanted it to, but I mean, I personally think that we still have great momentum even going into next year. So I'm honestly I'm ready to get back to work.
I like that. Actually, I have a follow up to that, but I want to bring Justin real quick and let both of you kind of answer the follow up. But first, Justin, what are your thoughts on the season as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, as far as like Demo and Mark said, championship, World Series that week, not the outcome that we wanted. Going in to the season, we all had a mission that we were setting out on, and like Mark touched on a little bit, there was opinions, there was lots of chatter, which I think makes it interesting as far as the league and beat ball as a whole, to be honest. And so um, we all had a lot of things to look forward to as the season getting started, putting work in the off season, practicing, like Mark talked about a little bit, kind of holding each other's feet to the fire as far as trying to get better, on and off the field. And that way, when it came time to these tournaments, we could show up and do what we were supposed to do. And as far as throughout the season, I think it went pretty well as far as tournaments, regionals, how we played together. We faced some adversity throughout the season, in a couple different tournaments, which I think helped us helped us overall as a team. But when it came down to the week that matters, we just we couldn't pull through. And so I think that, yeah, it sucks, but at the same time, it shines a spotlight on what we need to work on individually, what we need to work on as a team, and what we can do to improve, get better, and then come back, you know, come back next season and put together a better package and seal the deal.
Yeah, even though I would be frustrated, when I was playing, finishing second was frustrating and disappointing to me. But I do hear what you guys are saying on like the focus and the motivation, because I came out of those championship games with like a focus of what I had to do and what I thought our team had to do to kind of take that extra step going into the following season. For both of you, Justin and Mark, um, curious because you talked, Mark mentioned it first about having the target on your back because you guys were on the edge. 'Cause I think the situations are kind of similar, but it seemed like our beat ball world responded to the two things differently. But you guys were part of the edge. Well, I guess Justin, you were more part of the edge, like when players went and joined the edge before they won the two championships, when the players that came over from the Thunder to the edge. And Mark, you were on the edge before that. When the other players came over, and then you guys were part of the transition with the Archers. It seemed like everybody was a lot more harsh in their response when it happened with the Archers. Do you guys agree with that?
100%.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. Like, I'm pretty I try to just stay blind to anything that's outside of I guess I don't do drama, I guess is the best way to
Yeah,
put
no,
it. But
better off.
nah, I don't know if one was worse than the other, but yeah, I mean, I think that I will say this. I think that maybe D Smith and Ricky caught a lot more than I did, as far as that goes. But yeah.
Mark, you said you thought it was the same. Did I hear that right?
No, I
Oh,
honestly, I thought that the reaction to the Archers building the team that they did, or the team that we did, like I felt like the reaction was way worse than the reaction that took place when really the exact same thing happened for the Edge.
right.
Um, and like you said, like I had been on the Edge for 7 years before all that took place. So before all those players decided to come over, or before all those players were asked to come over, or whatever that was. But um, I it's just interesting. Like I said, we tried hard to kind of tune out the noise, but I obviously, being a captain on the team, I heard a lot and I saw a lot, and addressed a lot with my teammates, talked a lot with my teammates about, what I was seeing and what they were hearing and seeing and things like that. So, things eventually get through the grapevine and kind of start to seep into the organization. So, there was a lot of internal conversation about what was going on and what was being said and done and things like that. But yeah, it was definitely a challenge, really having to deal with all that. But I think at the end of the day, it only made us stronger mentally. I think it only made us stronger mentally, and I think it only made our bond as a team stronger.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I think that's the way that we all kind of flipped it and kind of ran with it to have fun with it and use it as kind of a motivation throughout the entire season. And that I think that was the fun thing with it, because there's that you can kind of take some of it and run with it and use as motivation, and sometimes there is a line where it's crossed and it can be disrespectful. But I think it's fun when we're out on the field. We can kind of use it as a little bit of fuel to the fire. And we didn't we didn't take home first, but I don't know. I think we did all right with it. But yeah.
I heard D Smith talking about it recently, and he was saying kind of the same thing, that you guys, it kind of brought you guys together, that you guys
Yeah.
used it as motivation. Demo, because I know you were part of the Archers, so it was a little more like this was definitely more personal to you than when it happened with the Edge. But you also are somebody who's you're one of the main people that kind of keep your ear to the ground when it comes to our sport. Do you feel the same way that this was totally handled or responded to differently than the Edge situation a few years ago?
Um, no, I'm not even gonna lie. Like when the Edge did it, I was one of those ones out there, talking shit about it. So when we put the team together, I fully expected
Yeah,
everybody
you
to hate
knew it.
us.
You knew it
So
was coming.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So no, what happened is what I expected. So like those guys said, you just turn it into motivation, and um, it propelled us to the season we had. We didn't finish it, but I think we gained a lot of respect from a lot of people going through the season. So
I guess for me, like remembering back, because I know that like the general response when the Edge picked up all those players a few years back was the same kind of thing, like, oh, they're just buying a championship or whatever. But I felt like a lot of the focus it came down like on Kyle Kennedy, like, oh, now Kyle has to come through, and if they don't win a championship, it's all Kyle's fault. Whereas in this case, it just seemed like people were just angry towards the Archers.
yeah, I mean, new kids on the block. We can't act like we don't have a great organization behind us, backing us, supporting us. And a lot of teams don't have that.
True,
So
true.
when team have that and then they're able to gather talent the way we did, it just makes for envy. Like it breeds jealousy. Not jealousy, but um it breeds
If not jealousy, at least envy. Like I,
yeah,
I think I think
yeah,
you're on a right track there.
yeah. I'm not gonna say people were jealous of us, but it definitely makes people feel a type of way about the way things went down and how they feel about the Gateway Arches or Mind's Eye X organization. So
I mean, just speaking from my own experience, because even though the Dogs were a good team year in and year out, we did it really on our own. We didn't have a sponsor. We weren't getting donations. We didn't have anything backing us. And then we'd show up at the World Series, and there's the Kansas All Stars, and John Parker's got like gift baskets in everybody's room waiting for them, and buying them t-shirts and multi-uniforms. And I mean, I ran my mouth about that constantly, and in the end it was envy. They had an easier road, they were more successful off the field with that stuff than we ever were, but didn't stop me from running my mouth.
I mean, the truth is like, yes, we have Mind's Eye behind us, and they definitely do a lot for us off the field. I mean, even with like training, when we come to town, we're in the cages, we're going to do team workouts, just supporting us off the field. But financially, Mark and Justin can attest to it. We come out of pocket a lot. So what people don't know is we have high team dues and everything's not paid for like people think, and nobody gets paid a salary like people think. So
I
Wait,
I
you guys
I,
don't get paid?
Mark's
Mark
the
get
accountant. That's why he said, "Oh, whoops! All the payroll's going to me."
Yeah, Mark had a good season, just renegotiated his own deal.
Yeah.
Trying to get that max deal like Dak.
Oh man, I mentioned David Smith just a little bit ago, and I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts. I mean, David Smith's been just an offensive monster since he came into the league. And then in the last few years, he certainly started coming into his own on the defensive side of things too. Just, has been one of our league's best all around players. And then we get the news, just literally days before the World Series started, about them having found a mass, and we now know he's being treated for testicular cancer. I'm curious to know, like how that, I guess to finish that thought, he ended up coming through and having another really strong tournament. He's been able to, he was able to play through it. He's getting treated now, but he's able to play through the World Series. But man, when that news is coming out, just before the tournament starts, how'd that affect the team? Like emotionally. I'll start with you, Justin, and go the other direction.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely out of nowhere, gut punch for all of us. I mean, beat ball is amazing, but first off, it's like, hearing the news of someone you care about, someone that, for me, that I see myself as a friend and getting closer to, just in general in life, and you hear something just out of nowhere, especially, D. Smith's freaking a beast. He lives and in shape, knows all this stuff, works in the medical, side of things, and
Yeah, yeah,
you hear this come out of nowhere, and Smith having kids and stuff. So it's like, that's the first thing, just hearing that and just making sure he's okay, and that side of it. And then also as far as the team, it definitely was something that we had to swallow, a tough pill to swallow, and say, hey, look, like, we're here for you. You know, like I said, focusing on his health and what he needed to do to stay healthy was the most
yeah,
important
yeah,
thing. And we had
yeah,
people throughout the tournament that was ready to come in if we needed him to. And so yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And it was it was just something we had to roll with, I guess. Yes, I mean, as you could expect with some news like that.
yeah, yeah. Mark?
Yeah, I mean, I think Justin kind of answered it really well, honestly. I mean, it was extremely shocking, honestly. Like you said, like we're a team, obviously, and like I said, we went through a lot this year, even just leading up to the World Series, that really kind of brought us together as friends and damn near brothers. And so hearing that from him, was really, at least for me, like kind of almost, it was surreal. I mean, you know, like Justin said, like this guy's a freaking beast. Works in the medical field, extremely intelligent when it comes to like fitness and health and things like that. And,
Yeah,
even with all that, even with all that, something like this happened to him. So, it was extremely shocking. And, I mean, obviously there's nothing that I could have done about it, but, I just tried to be supportive to him and, let him know that, me and my family are praying for him, and we're here to help him in any way that he and his family need. So, um, but I think the biggest thing that really kind of struck me was that, like, shortly after he was in the hospital, like, this guy was still talking about, oh, I'm playing at the World Series. And I was like, all right, dude, like, you might have freaking cancer right now, and you're talking about getting out of the hospital and the next week playing in the World Series. Like, that's crazy.
yeah,
um, and I told him, like, you know, I mean, I'm not your doctor. I'm not here to tell you what you can and can't do. So, I mean, if you think that's what you want to do, then by all means, I'm not going to stop you. But, um, you know, we did a lot this year as a team, and we have people who are here to step in if you're not able to go. So, don't push yourself if you don't think you can.
Yeah.
Um, so and that's honestly the same message I gave to the team. At our last like major team practice before the series, I told him like, Smith is coming in. He wants to play. He does not want to be treated differently because he's dealing with this situation. You know, let's be supportive to him as his teammates, as his friends, his brothers. Respect his wishes and be ready when your number's called because there is a chance he might not be able to play the whole World Series. Um, you know, but I mean, he proved me wrong. He proved us all wrong because I mean that dude, like you said, still went out there and had a hell of a series, made some really big plays and big games. So, my heart goes out to him honestly, and obviously we're still praying for him and hoping for a speedy recovery.
Now, seeing somebody you care about go through something like that, and honestly, I don't even think you need to like be close to somebody. Just seeing somebody get a slap of reality of like how harsh life can be sometimes, go through that, I think kind of takes stuff like beat ball and puts it in perspective, I think.
Absolutely.
Yo.
Demo, man, what are your thoughts?
Um, so having played with David previously with the Jets for a couple seasons, I know his mentality, I know his work ethics, I know what beat ball means to him. Um, I knew that unless David was still in the hospital, if he got out before the World Series, he was going to play. Um, I didn't think he was going to play as much as he did, dealing with the cancer and everything, but he
Yeah.
gutted it out. And like those guys said, he had a decent World Series. I'm sure he would say, he'd have done a lot
Oh
better.
no, he's
Um,
he's he's got a very high standard for himself. So
yeah, for sure.
he wasn't an MVP, so he let the team down. I'm saying that tongue in cheek, but I mean David, he nobody expects more out of David than David. So
Yeah, he came out and gave us everything he could for the week. So
let me and I'll stay with you, Demo. Ask like the reverse of that. So, you get that news and, it's kind of as a team, you got to kind of start thinking next man up kind of mentality. But then dude rallies, shows up in St. Louis and he's ready to play. Like what kind of emotional like effect did that have on the team? Like I gotta assume that that's kind of like a big motivator, something that will pump you up.
yeah, I mean, seeing him out there dealing with that, still come willing to come out and give us everything that he could give us. We knew David was, going into putting this team together, one of the big pieces we picked up in all season. And
Right.
that made us a championship contending team. So being able to have him available for the World Series, it just, boosted everybody and with showing everybody that, things are precious around here. Like you never know when it's your time. So better get it while you can.
Definitely. Mark, what was your response once he did show up and was ready to play?
I mean, like I said, I told him if that's what he wants to do, I'm not going to stop him. So, I mean, I was extremely excited that he was able to go. Um, you know, Me being who I am, I was still worried about him, and I
Yeah.
probably asked him 4 or 5 times during the week, "Man, are you okay? Are you feeling okay? Are you
Yeah.
in pain? Like, are you good?" He probably got tired of hearing it, but uh, it was definitely very motivating. And I mean, honestly, not even just his play, but just his presence as a leader on the team.
Yeah.
I think was a big boost for everybody there. So, uh, yeah, I mean That's what I got for you.
No, you're good. You're good. Justin, anything to add to all that?
No, I think they covered it pretty good. Yeah, I mean, once we honestly once we had the first warm up and we all got out there and he was he decided he was going to play. We was good. He ran a few bases and I asked him, I'm like, how you feel? He's like, I feel good. I'm like, all right, well, let's rock. And we didn't look back from that moment. I mean, I think Aaron C is the one that says this, but I'm a big fan of control the controllables and
Yep.
worrying. Even though this is extremely difficult and life changing and a big thing to go through, worrying isn't going to help. And so I think it might have helped him actually get his mind off things a little bit the week of. So
No, I dig
yeah,
that.
I think yeah.
All right. All right, well, definitely like everybody, D Smith, if you go listen to him on Chad's podcast, you hear his attitude is strong. If you see his posts on Facebook, he's, very positive and he's still David Smith, but keep David and his family in your prayers because the battle, he's still in the middle of that battle. Um, I was on your individual seasons. I'll start with you, Justin. You've won 2 championships with the Edge. You played, you played with a handful of teams. I know you didn't play a World Series, um, with the Heat, but I can remember you playing in some tournaments with the Heat in the past and doing really well in individual tournaments. Um, I don't know what's your reactions individually after your first year with the Archers. You're an offensive all-star. You had a really solid season. Obviously, you and Mike Curtis made a good team hookup
Yeah.
offensively. Like how you feeling coming out of your first year with the Archers?
Um, I think ultimately, like as far as World Series, looking at that, I honestly think that we did well, but we struggled a bit compared to the regular season. The fields were more defensive, but me and Mike, I mean, especially in the Indy tournament, I mean, we were just hitting what I call pretty much unfieldable balls on when it comes to beat ball, just because the height on them and the contact quality. But we still did pretty good the World Series week with those fields. But overall, the season, like I feel like the coming together with everybody on the team defensively, I feel like that we kind of meshed really well throughout the season. World Series, we kind of struggled a little bit, but very proud of all of us and what we did do defensively. I think in some games and in some innings and just some moments, I mean, we really, I'm a big fan of defense because I think that's really where you can take control of a game or you can lose control of a game, which I think we showed the example of both of those this season. And so, um, yeah, I mean, that was, I feel like overall we had a great season. Defensively, we saw what kind of pieces we had to work with and learn some things throughout. And then offensively with Mike, I mean, Mike impressed the heck out of me.
Yeah, yeah.
This was, we had a really solid season, pretty much the whole stretch. I mean, starting out in Vegas, and through we kept improving. Like I said, we had a little bit of struggle with the World Series, but that's going to happen. The big thing is making that adjustment and pulling through and being able to get out of the rut. And was really proud of Mike for putting in the work one and also to start taking control on the mound. He I saw a lot of growth with him, not only in performance but just confidence on the mound, which I think is huge. Watching people like Fonzie, Kyle, Jared, like seeing these elite pitchers, Pat, even like just kind of taking control up there, and I saw Mike starting to do that more and more. So, no, I think we overall, I had as far as individual season, it was a fun season, and also felt like that did pretty solid overall, and definitely know what I want to work on to bring, like I said, bring a better package next season. So
Yeah, I was impressed. Well, I was impressed with Mike Curtis going back to the Oklahoma tournament because by the time I got out there, halfway through the tournament, he had become the pitcher. And I only got to see one Gateway game that I remember in Oklahoma, and that was against the Chicago Comets. And I was just like, look at this dude, Curtis, man, just up there, bang, 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 bat after bat. But
Chef
then
Mike.
and then coming forward, like just from Vegas on, he just was so solid. I talked about it a lot during the year on this show. Just he was so solid all the way through, and I was impressed with that. But I also was impressed with the defense because you guys threw a lot of new pieces together, and you can throw a lot of good players together, but it doesn't always mean that it's going to mesh the way you want to, or even if it does, sometimes it takes a while. But from the get, you guys seem to find like a groove altogether. Bring you in, Mark, because I feel like you were a big key to that. I shoot, I've been a fan of yours, Mark, since I've been getting familiar with you over the last few years. Just I'm impressed with your versatility. I've been impressed with it. It doesn't really matter if you're playing short, if you're playing in the outfield, playing mid. You find a way to make plays. But you had a great year defensively, playing up in the hot spot. Talk about your own individual year that you had.
Yeah, so I think the first thing that I just want to kind of emphasize is that like the season that I had this year doesn't happen without my teammates. We had a few things that were moving around a little bit after the Vegas tournament, just trying to really kind of lock things in, get people where we felt like the defense was going to be most successful. So like in Vegas, like I started out playing in the middle. Um, and after Vegas, or no, I think it was after Oklahoma actually this year, that we actually ended up moving me to the front. But it was really my teammates who, kind of came to me and said, "Hey, like we think that this is the best position for you to play." Um, I was fine with staying in the middle. Like it's not for me, it's not about stats. I just want to help the team win in the best way that I can. Um, so they came to me. We had those conversations with Orlando, and just kind of ran with it from there. And me living in Indiana, I have the opportunity to go to a park every now and again, and I had Shay hit balls to me for an hour or two each time we went, and just got tons and tons of reps in just by myself, which by the way is extremely exhausting.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
but I think the other thing is, also pointing at my teammates, like when we added guys like D Smith and Justin Holland to the team, like I was leading off last year, and we added these guys to the team, and after the first couple of tournaments, I was struggling a little bit. I was my swing was a little bit in flux. I was kind of trying to tinker with things a little bit, and um, was kind of in between swings at that point. And I said to Justin Smith, like, one of you guys should be the leadoff because I just don't have it right now. And they both encouraged me to stick it out, keep swinging, keep keep working on the drills, and stay as the leadoff. Like they had that confidence in me. And I think without that, I don't have the season that I have. Um, without them encouraging me to stay as leadoff, without them encouraging me to play up front, I don't have the season that I had. So, big props to them. And I appreciate the confidence that they had in me, and the trust that they had in me to fill those specific roles. But yeah, I mean, as far as the season overall, like this was probably my most successful season on an individual basis. Um, I think I made all tournament in some capacity at every single tournament this year, which I've never done. And I've definitely never made offensive all tournament at the World Series, but it's been a goal for years. So, um, I think as Sorry, go ahead.
Well, just real quick, considering that there was more beat ball played than ever in the past, than any time before in the past this year, and that I didn't even really pay attention to that until you just said it, but I believe you're right. The fact that you did make an appearance all the way through that's really incredible for anybody to do, man. Nice work. Nice work.
I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, as far as kind of moving to the World Series. So last year, and you may or may not have heard this before, but so last year at the World Series, I was kind of struggling with Walker a little bit, and so I went to Mike and in Orlando, and I was Mike, I think that you should try pitching to me, and let's see if this is any better than what's currently going on. And so, Mike stepped in, I think it was on Tuesday. He stepped in and started pitching to me individually. So like I would lead off, he would pitch to me, and then Walker would pitch to the other five guys. And it worked. I mean, we were banging. I mean, we were hitting like first or second pitch every single time, no strikeouts. And I mean, I was scoring very consistently last year with Mike. So I knew what he was capable of. Um, but I think this year his work ethic really kind of shined through, which is why he had the year that he did. And that kind of goes back to what we were kind of preaching in the off season with, holding each other's feet to the fire. And I mean, he was one of them. I mean, he's a teammate just like everybody on this call. So it was constant conversations with him. Hey, what you doing today? Hey, did you throw any pitches today? Hey, what are you working on? Hey, we want to see you take charge on the mound a little bit. Try and give us a little bit more communication. Just having that open channel of communication with him. And I mean, he took everything in stride, which I was extremely impressed by. And I mean, we got it back together. I mean, like I said, I was struggling earlier in the year, but I mean, at the World Series, I had one strikeout. So, I
Pretty
mean,
nice.
with all the struggles that we had, both of us, I mean, we both put the work in, and I mean, the results speak for themselves. So,
Right.
uh, I think kind of moving into next year, like obviously, I want to continue to build off of the season that I had, but I think me personally, like my focus is really shifting a little bit more to my teammates, especially my younger teammates, or younger in the game, I guess. And just seeing what I can do to really kind of help them step up a level, both on both sides of the ball. And really just see how I can make this team a little bit better, not just with my play, but also with kind of my coaching and mentoring.
Nice. Emo man, I'm thinking about you. Like it's a really cool journey, I think. Like, you're from Missouri. You end up going to Colorado, and that's where you get introduced to beep ball, and you play with Colorado, you play a little bit with Kansas, you get to play with the Jets. You end up coming over to the Archers, which is a team from your home state where you grew up, and now you're on. I know you guys don't feel like that you reached what you're trying to reach yet, but you come kind of like full circle. Now you're back playing for a team that's going to be a contender for a while in your home state. Like, is it all kind of surreal for you, the way the journey's kind of played out?
Well, one, I never played for the Kansas All Stars.
I thought you did.
No,
I don't
no,
know why.
when when
I got a weird memory of like, oh, 08 or back before. I don't even know when.
uh,
I could have
uh,
sworn you were on the All Stars for a year.
no, I was always Colorado until I went to the
Oh,
Jets.
all right. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, you're good. Um, yeah, I mean, for me, coming into the season, knowing where the World Series was. Let me back up. let me back up to last season when we had the regional in St. Louis, and um, being from that area, having 30 to 40 of my family members there supporting me.
Wearing Moro jerseys.
Yeah, yeah, got all that Archers gear on, supporting me and stuff. I was having a good tournament till I popped a couple ligaments in my finger. I thought it was just sprain or whatever. I think I was hitting like 700 something, and I didn't find out till after the World Series that I popped a couple pulley ligaments in my ring finger, so my finger's permanently bowed. It will never be straight again.
Ooh.
Um, but I went to the World Series, didn't have any problems with it. My doctor actually told me it was good that I kept playing because it helped the mobility in the finger versus
Okay.
just splitting it up and immobilizing it.
Right.
Um, and my thing is the opposite of Mark. Like he was struggling with Walker. Walker's my pitcher from Colorado, so
Yeah,
we
yeah,
had that
yeah.
we had that connection,
Yeah.
and we were first pitch bombing it, doing well, and then he got hurt, and Mike came in, and I hadn't hit off Mike since the first tournament in 2022 in Georgia when I joined the Archers officially, and me and Mike had some success in that tournament, and but when he came into the World Series, I hadn't hit off Mike in practice. I don't live in St. Louis, so I hadn't seen Mike in 2 years, and we struggled at first. And before I think our game gets by UCD, I was like, Mike, you know what, we got to figure this out. And um, we went up, did some extra batting practice, and got it figured out to where I finished the tournament fairly successful. We weren't hitting the ball as hard as I would have liked to. Luckily for those, we were in the Oklahoma field, so um, those balls probably wouldn't have scored on slice of fields. But going into the off season, making the move that we made, I knew it was going to be uphill battle to get that playing time that I want or whatever. Um, so for me, it was just focusing on doing what I needed to do. I switched up my swing to have more of a uppercut swing because I feel like Mike's natural pitch is a drop pitch. So
Okay.
I went into the offseason, switched up my swing, all new stance, everything. And I felt like, they worked like out the box when we first had our first practice in October. Um, right out the box, we were banking. And, we took that all the way through the indoor, through Vegas, and through like the first half of the Oklahoma tournament. And somehow, because it's a new swing to me, I lost it in the middle of the Oklahoma tournament, and it was lost for a while, like through Indy, through the Champaign Battle Illinois. I mean, not Champaign, but Springfield Battle Illinois with Chicago, through the Bolingbrook tournament. I felt like I was lost at the plate. Um, so I took those 6 weeks from Bolingbrook to the World Series to really focus on my swing, and correcting whatever was wrong, trying to figure out what was wrong. And when we got to the World Series, it was back. Like it was back like it wasn't the beginning of the season. I wish I'd have had it the whole season. Or I could have made some all-star teams like Marc also. But also for me, like my first 2 years with the Archers, I didn't feel like I was the demo that I was with Colorado or my 2 years with the Jets. So also with the new swing this offseason, I dedicated myself to my fitness and getting back to the player I know I can be. And I finished the World Series, I think, with the second highest batting average on the team. I didn't have enough at bats to qualify for any awards, but I liked the way I finished off, came into the championship game and was able to put up a couple big runs when we were trying to rally. So for me, it was up and down season, but not I finished strong, and I know the journey I'm on with with where I want to be. So
Right. I like how you said you think you had the second best average, as if like there's maybe only one person in the whole league that knows the stats better than you do. I
no,
like
no,
how you're like, I think, but I'm not sure. Come on
no,
now.
I know I had the second best average on our team for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I'm just giving you a hard time, man. No, I give you a hard time a lot. I know, both privately and on the show, whatever. But man, I was really happy sitting out there at the championship game, seeing you scoring runs, man. It was. I don't know. I'm just happy for you.
It felt good. Felt good. The Me personally, my week didn't go as I thought it would go. So having that opportunity to get in the championship game and produce and show that, I am still a player in this game. I feel like I'm slept on a lot, but I am a player in this game, and I can produce at a high level against any team in this league. So it felt good to get out there and bang those balls in
Nice.
front of my fam and everything.
Yeah. No, I like the whole picture is a really cool thing. Somebody that cares about you a lot, man. I was happy for you.
Fun
I f-
fact: at Slice, between the regional and the World Series, I haven't struck out. I've never struck out at Slicer.
oh, you should. Oh, you just jinxed yourself. You just jinxed yourself, man. Now
You're
that's
not supposed to
actually
say that stuff out loud.
yeah, right.
I'm confident. I've never been a high strikeout guy anyway, so I'm confident in my skills.
Listen, I've kept you guys for almost an hour, and I don't really have anything else to throw at you. But I also feel like I've done kind of a bad job of letting you like jump in as a co-host, Demo. Partly because I got to pee like a racehorse. I might be rushing along, but there anything that you want to throw out there to the fellas that I didn't address?
Um, um,
Yeah, my bladder loves this long delay.
not not I mean not really. I mean we covered it. Um, just you guys were ready to run it back.
Yo, yo.
Of course.
Mark or Justin, I'll go with you first. Mark, you got anything else you want to throw out there before we pop out?
No,
No, I mean, oh, sorry. But
no, you're good. I don't have anything.
yeah, I don't
All
have
right.
anything. I was just gonna say, like I said, I'm just ready to get back to work. I know we got this All-Star event coming up in about a month or so, but uh, I'm ready to focus on Archer stuff. Get back in
Nice.
the cages, get back on the fields, all of it.
Awesome. Well, man, guys, I congratulate you guys on a great season. I think overall, all these years later, I'm not so bitter personally, like on a personal level about like second, third place finishes or whatever. I guess just far enough removed from it now as a player to where I have a different perspective. You guys were a lot of fun to watch this year. I'm fans of all of you, and congratulations on the season you guys had. You should be proud of it, and I know there's going to be a lot more coming forward.
That's it. We appreciate it.
You bet.
Appreciate it, Neil.
Mark, man, I appreciate you just very few people like give me, like more feedback on the show than you do. Like you've been from the beginning. Like you've reached out to me a lot privately, just sharing your thoughts on what we do with the show or whatever. I just want you to know that I appreciated it at the beginning and I still appreciate it now.
Definitely. My pleasure, man.
Justin, I just hope to be you when I grow up, man. You're kind of a stud, dude. Keep doing what you're doing. And Demo, dude, I love you, man. You're my dude.
Right back at you. I just want to say, before we get out of here, congrats to those guys in Philly. They definitely earned that championship. Um, they took it to us on Friday and Saturday. So hats off to those guys.
Yo, they Friday and Saturday were both they played two heck of games and well deserved. It was a great series, great season, and ready to run it back.
Very nice, very classy, fellas. All right, man. Let's leave it at that. But I appreciate you guys. I look forward to interacting with you all more as we go forward. That is it for this episode, everybody. But we will keep things rolling. So keep tuning in, and we will catch you next time. Everybody, be well.